Um, Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am Sadie, and this is Ryan from RightBlogger, and we are going to talk about repurposing your blog content today. We really want to help you get more mileage out of your blog posts so you can work less and make more money. So Ryan is going to lead the charge here. I'm going to help out in the chat and pop in when needed. But Ryan, go ahead and do a little intro if you want, and we'll just hop right in.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. Well, thank you everyone for joining. And for those of you that are watching this as a recording, thank you for watching the recording. So I'm pumped to be here. I've been blogging, creating content for as long as Sadie has. Like, I think I was trying to tally this up and to really go back to when I properly got started. I think 14 years is it now. So I've been doing this for a very long time, and I've learned a lot of things the hardest way possible. And so, what I like to do at the core of my teaching and things like these live streams is to simplify stuff and to say, hey, here's where the mines are in the minefield. Avoid stepping over there. Maybe take this path. This is the path I've found to be the most helpful and of the quickest returns. So, something that I really wanted to focus our conversation on today is repurposing content. I see this as one of the biggest mistakes that content creators make, whether you identify as a blogger, a small business owner, a podcaster, a YouTube, it doesn't really matter. If you're creating content with the goal of driving some sort of business result at the end of the day, selling courses, right? Selling physical products, digital products, then this is going to be really relevant to you. Repurposing content. So many people will write the blog post and then move on to the next thing as soon as you hit publish. They'll make the video, make the podcast episode, whatever that sort of creation medium is. A lot of people want to move on to the next thing as soon as you hit publish. And that's where I see the most value is left on the table for creators of all kinds. And in my experience, the real mileage you get is by actually thinking of it as once you hit publish, that's 20% of the work. Now, promotion is 80%. I'm sure you're very familiar with the 80-20 rule. I think it's very applicable to content promotion versus creation. And that doesn't mean you should spend less time, less energy, less effort on the creation side. It just means that you should consider reworking what your workflow looks like so that you are allocating more time, more energy, more resources to promotion of your content. And specifically here today, we want to focus on what repurposing content looks like. So here in a few minutes, I'll do kind of a screen share. I'll pull up my screen so you can see exactly how I repurpose content. I want to work through a few different examples, but before we get into kind of the meaty technical stuff here, I just want to really kind of set the stage for this. And number one, the entire purpose of creating content, right, is to build relationships with real people. And you can't fake that. AI can help you do things along this process that will allow you to lean more into your own strengths, your own skill sets, and like operate in that zone of genius for you. But you cannot replace yourself, the amount that you care and the way that you connect with real people in your creation and promotion process. So, the foundation of this here today is being authentic to yourself and your audience. And a lot of this comes back to creating content first in a medium that your audience wants to consume it in. And to add to that, in a way that also gives you energy. If you are a writer by trade and being on camera or in front of a microphone drives you absolutely insane, or the idea of that is really daunting, scary, then perhaps you should actually go into that discomfort. But keep in mind, that the way that you create content also needs to derive positive energy for you too. So if you can find ways to push that comfort zone, like really edge up against those boundaries, I think that in my experience, going into my discomfort has proven to be really fruitful for me. And where that discomfort is for me is in doing a lot of video content. I'm a writer, I'm a blogger. I have always identified as processing very well via my fingertips, writing. But doing video content is becoming more and more important for the, let's say, modern age of content creation, no matter what your goal is, right? People are consuming video more and more frequently. People are still consuming blogs. It's always going to be relevant because your blog is always going to be your home base where you get to control the platform and how you interact with your audience. It's where you have your newsletter sign up, right? So you can build your own audience and a direct line of communication with them. So blogging is always important, but really think this through about how you are going to meet people the way that they want to be met. And that's really important here. So think about that as you're figuring out the ways that you want to create content. And for me, what that looks like is providing value in multiple different mediums on multiple different platforms. So I will always be blogging. I will always be writing. That's my written medium. Now, video. This is the big one these days. And where you publish this stuff makes a big difference. So on my blog, I like to publish long form blog content, and I like to now pair it with a video on the topic. Because in the video, I can be so much more expressive, right? You get a feel for who I am just here, like watching me today, interacting with me today. And that is so invaluable from the perspective of building relationships with your audience and the people that you want to figure out how to monetize your business with. So keep that in mind, and let's get going here. This is a long intro, but
That's
publishing on
okay.
multiple different platforms, it's a great thing for discovery and engagement, right? So you think about YouTube, think about Instagram Reels, TikTok, all these different platforms where if you're publishing things, you're going to get noticed and people are going to feel that connection with you. Sadie, did you want to jump in?
Yeah, I think that's all perfect. I already started taking a bunch of notes and I've been studying TikTok for a couple of months now. And I have heard so many stories from people where one video literally changed their life. Like, not just, oh, I went viral, yay. It was, they went from making $0 to 10,000 plus a month because they just published consistently, consistently, consistently. And then one of those videos popped off. And now everything is popping off. So people are going to their YouTube, to their Facebook, to their blogs. So being in multiple places, it can feel really exhausting if you feel like you have to create new content all the time. But I think that you're going to show us how we can repurpose one piece of content, and then it's not going to feel quite so exhausting to be in more than one place.
That is the entire point here today. So thanks for bringing us back home. What I find too personally is like, when you think about all these different platforms where you could be spending time, it does get overwhelming. So think about this instead, not from the perspective of, oh, I have to create something distinct for each one of these platforms and channels. Rather, figure out a creation medium. I like to do video first because video allows me to really get all of my thoughts out there in a format that is easy to repurpose from. And you can go the other direction too. You can create blog content and then generate, say, a script for a video based on that. There's a lot of directions we can go, and I'll show you here right now. So let me show you my screen. Let's make sure I'm sharing the right screen, as always.
And my VIPs know I have always told them to create whichever feels good first. If it feels good to create the blog post first, do it. If it feels good to create the video first, do it. However, I've always been resistant to video as well. I'm a writer. I could live without watching or making videos. I would be totally fine with just writing and consuming blog posts. However, since I started using RightBlogger, I now will create videos first and then do the blog posts, even though I'm a writer, because you still get that writing feeling because the video is just creating a first draft, right? So you're still getting to go in and write and add things. So you guys, if you're like me and you have been resisting YouTube videos and making videos for years and years and years, please pay attention to this process where Ryan shows you how to turn a video into a blog post, because it's completely changed my creation process and the amount of work that creating takes. So please pay attention to that part. Even if you are resistant to video, I promise it will change your life.
Yes, this is all like what I'm going to be showing you guys is RightBlogger. This is the platform that my friend Andy and I built for ourselves. Literally, we built this for ourselves first to solve this particular set of problems. And all of the tools behind the scenes here, and I know Sadie has a link to where you guys can check it out if you haven't taken us up on a free account yet. I'm sure she'll pop the link into the comments. So please take it for a spin. You can try all of our tools for free, but Andy and I built these tools to scratch our own itch, essentially, where both of us have been content creators, bloggers for well over a decade now. And we know the power of repurposing content, the taking the piece you create and making sure that you get the absolute most mileage out of it across different mediums and different platforms. Because content creation is a numbers game. Sadie, as you were talking about, people who go, viral on TikTok or Instagram, whatever platform, YouTube, people who get really strong traction on those platforms, it's usually not a mistake. It's a numbers game. You got to put in the reps. You have to do it, every day or every week for a set number of months to really count on blowing up eventually. So know that this stuff does take time, but these tools are what we built to help meet that challenge of not spending as much time doing it. So the first tool that I want to show you guys here is the YouTube video to blog post generator tool. This is by far my favorite tool inside RightBlogger. Like, I still get giddy about using this tool and I use it all the time. So the principle is really simple. Take a video you've created and have it live on YouTube, or you can also, I think you can paste in the transcript of a video if you've got it on a different platform. That's cool too. But take a video from your YouTube channel. Let me grab this one that I recently did on successful blog post examples. So I just copied the link to it here, and I'll come back in and paste the link there, and you'll see the tool magically kind of gets to work. It confirms, all right, yes, this is the right link. This video is gonna work. Does this look good? So now, this is where like the difference in RightBlogger really shines out between something like interacting directly with ChatGPT. So behind the scenes, with all of the detail and prompting here, we have invested a ton of time and effort figuring out what works really well from the prompting perspective so that other people do not have to go down the rabbit hole of spending hundreds of hours learning how to prompt and work with AI. So let me just fill out this example here. Primary keyword phase, again, like I have this very deep SEO experience. And so everything that I create inside RightBlogger here is going to have kind of an SEO bend to it as well. And the entire purpose, right, is that, hey, we've got this video on YouTube. It's designed to be discovered, to attract audience. Now let's create a piece of long form content that can do the same with Google and all the other search engines. So we're going to have blog post examples as our primary keyword phrase we want to go for here. And then we've got a bunch of options. I think we have just about every language imaginable. If you spot one that we don't have, please let us know. And then under the tone and the writing style here, this is another thing that we've tacked on to RightBlogger that makes it more personalized. And inside your account, I believe this may only be for paying subscribers of RightBlogger, but inside your account, you can upload my tones and you can have like a really defined, clear brand voice for yourself. So getting AI to sound more like you is really, really challenging. And we've worked a lot with that. So I'll just select one of mine here. I've got one called friendly, relatable, motivational chat. That sounds like a very me thing right there. Now, this is a cool feature here. So we've toggled this on by default, and it embeds the video in the article we're going to create. Point of view, you can set this based on, how you like to position yourself, what your writing voice is. Target audience, I'm going to say bloggers for this one. Actually, let's say new bloggers. Someone who's looking up examples of blog posts is probably relatively new. Now, additional instructions. This is really important here too. This is where you get to curate what the AI is going to be doing with the content that you feed it. And the more specific, the more prescriptive you are, the better this content is always going to turn out. So if you have a clear sense of the outline, let's say, that you want to give it, maybe that's less applicable for a video that you're converting because the video is already created, it's structured, it's the way you want it. But if you're creating, say, an article and you're using the article writer tool, then you would want to give some more additional instructions. Otherwise, AI is going to go out and kind of choose what's best. So something that I like to add to my additional instructions with this YouTube to blog post tool is be sure to use list formatting as often as possible where appropriate. There we go. I like nice formatting. I like to skim and scan content myself. So the content that I create, I like it to be very scannable for people. Now, here's a really fun one. We just added this creativity slider this week where you get to kind of choose like, hey, how creative do you want the AI to be? Or how much do you want it to stay really directly on point? If you slide it all the way down to least creative, it's going to be very direct, straight to the point. We by default just have it right here in the middle, standard creativity, which is where I like it, or I like to leave it. This is where we feel you get the best, most consistent results. But playing around with this is super fun, I will say. Um, Add knowledge if you want to add, related blog posts or upload some text, or even just pull from your library of knowledge sources. Let's say you have your entire website here in the knowledge base because you want everything you create to learn and use and incorporate the knowledge from across your website. This is a super useful one. I'll leave it blank just for this example. And let's click generate. Let's see what we get. Now, what's happening behind the scenes here is we're packaging up all this information with our behind the scenes prompt, and it's going to be creating this post. Nice. All right. So let's dive right in. That's something I say all the time, and I'm pretty sure I say it in this video. So no surprise that it gets it. Cool. And it's utilizing list formatting, which is exactly what I wanted to see. Awesome. Cool. Okay, so this is a really funny thing to note. So AI will often misspell stuff. It'll misspell Ryan Robinson sometimes. It'll definitely misspell RightBlogger. And the name of this blog here that I use as an example, IttyBiz, it does have two T's in it, right? So this is an important thing about AI. It is rarely going to get all of the spelling, especially proper nouns, correct. So definitely proof all of the content that you create. Now let's just scan through this. So it looks like it wrote up a post that incorporated all of my different examples I had in there. And then we got the video down here at the end again as well. This one might actually even be a glitch, perhaps. We typically try and only embed a video one time. I like to embed it towards the top. So when I go ahead and create the post for this, I would just remove this one. But I'll show you, just to bring us home here, what I do next. Now, I want to create a new post on the RightBlogger blog for this particular article. And we have worked a lot on the formatting of how we can copy and paste content seamlessly so that all of the formatting actually pulls through. So I would just hit this purple copy button and that copies everything, and then click into the header here and let us paste. And we'll see how this goes. There we go. And so with WordPress, which is our CMS of choice for content creation, blogging, no matter what, highly recommend WordPress. We've really dialed this in to where all of the formatting comes through, the things that are bold, the headings here, it all comes through pretty much perfectly. And so this again, like to bring us back home to the theme that we had in mind starting this off, repurposing content without spending a ton of time doing it. Now, that's what I really like the most about this tool because creating a video is so much more difficult for me, let's say. Let me just bring myself back up for a sec. Creating a video is way more time intensive. It's energy intensive to me. I have to prepare a lot more. I have to do multiple takes. I have to edit the video. There's a lot more that goes into it. And so for me, writing's the easy part. But if I can outsource that and do it the first draft in just 2 minutes there, let's say, especially once you're in the groove and you know how to use these tools, then we're like cooking with gasoline. And let me actually bring my screen back up because I want to show you something else that's really fun about this tool. Okay, where are we? Too many screens going on at the same time here. All right, here we go. So something that I really like about what we've built into RightBlogger is we have these little tabs that you may not have noticed. We have an SEO tab and we have a chat tab. So under the SEO tab, for any of your longer form creations that you make, you'll get automatically a meta title, a meta description, a permalink suggestion, and the primary keyword phrase. So this stuff is all super useful. Let's say just copy that blog post examples and let's come down to the bottom of the post here in WordPress. I like using Yoast. And so I want to just paste all this stuff directly in and then boom, I'm like ready to go with a super well optimized blog post just to get things started. And you can notice here under the SEO analysis that we're already sort of like halfway tuned up. And what we'd want to do to finish this off, let me just get us looking good for the sake of this example. Let's paste that in there too. Outstanding blog post examples, right? So this is an interesting thing about AI. It won't always dial things in perfectly. It still requires you as the certified human here to swing through and make sure that this content is actually good for you. Okay, let me get this to green. All right. Now, I won't allow my ADD to take us down the rabbit hole of you watching me optimize Yoast SEO for hours here. But the point is that this is a really good starting point to where I could now take probably 15 minutes with this post to just finish things up to make sure that I've got that Yoast in the green zone. And then boom, we have a blog post on this. And I'd likely just use the same featured image that I already made for the thumbnail of the YouTube video, right? So there's a lot of these things that you can kind of speed your process up. Now, the last thing I wanted to show you on this particular tool is the chat icon. So this is where we take repurposing to the next level again inside RightBlogger. And what we love to do is when we create some content like this, repurposing is more than just going from, say, a video to a blog post. It's also creating content that you can share on social media. So I'm a big fan of LinkedIn myself. I don't use too many of the other socials these days because overwhelm. And so I would chat with this, and this chat is going to be specific to the creation that we just made right here. So I would say, write 3 LinkedIn posts related to the topic of this article for me to share and promote to my audience. And then what we can do is we can interact directly, basically, with the AI and create some interesting content here. So this post here, I'm not sure why we get a title style thing here, but this is probably just kind of giving us a little bit of context around what this is. I personally would not post this on my LinkedIn, but I would start right here. And then we've got, you know, kind of a primer for what this article, this video is going to be about. And then we've got the link already in here, and we've got some hashtags that AI has already gone out and said, hey, these are the hashtags that make the most sense for the theme of this video. This one I like a lot more because, again, formatting, right? Bullet points jump out to me as a reader. And so I love to include stuff like this, especially when I want to share and promote content on LinkedIn. Now, here's a little bit of a nuance. with promoting your content on social media. So I personally find that these days, posting just the link to your article, the link to your video, whatever, ends up just being more noise in a sea to be drowned out. And so, from my perspective, I think the best use case for you is always going to be to just start interesting conversations, ask questions that people are going to see and like feel compelled to want to weigh in on with you. Because if you're sharing things that are interesting, insightful, lessons you've learned in value driven posts on your social channels, and then in your first comment below, you link to a related resource, a related freebie, a video, a blog post, a course, whatever that looks like, that's going to be a much more natural way to engage with other real people. Because I'm sure you guys see this all the time. Just looking at your social media feeds, it can seem like everyone just has their own little tiny bullhorn and they're just shouting into an echo chamber, "Hey, come check out my site. Come check out my site. Look at my video," right? So I think the way that you really win is by just driving meaningful, interesting conversations with people. And the way that we try and design these tools is to help you do stuff like that. So I would again, take probably this one looks the best to me. I would just take this, like, look at this. It starts with a great question. Ever hit a creative block when blogging? I mean, to me, the answer is hell yeah. Like, I would read that and be like, yes. And so, if I like the creator who's sharing this question, asking this question on LinkedIn, I'm gonna like tune into this. I want to see what this post is about. So I'll probably expand it. If I'm really interested, then I'll click the link in, this creator's first comment of this post. So again, the theme here, none of these tools are perfect. None of this process is ever going to replace you completely. That would be a very scary turn of events. The way that you really provide value yourself is by injecting your humanity, your lived experiences, your examples, the things that make you genuinely you into this process. So, this was my favorite tool. I wanted to spend kind of the lion's share of our time on this one, but I want to show you another tool that I've been getting so much value out of lately that it's like insane. And it's the blog post to YouTube video script generator. So, people like Sadie and I, we're self-admitted not lovers of being on camera in front of video all the time, right? We've spent a lot of time writing. And so I have hundreds of written articles that don't yet have videos for them. And if you're anything like us, if you have written content, whether it's on your blog, it's a LinkedIn post, you do long form written stuff on Medium, whatever that looks like to you, you can grab the link to that. And let me actually go grab the link from something on my blog. And let's do a real example right here. So I just updated this article on ways to grow your blog in 2024. I pruned out a bunch of stuff that didn't feel as relevant anymore. I updated things, but I don't have a video for this yet. And this is an insane topic for me. My blog is literally all about blogging, and I don't have a video on this particular topic. So to me, this one really stands out as an opportunity to create some video content. And what I like to do to save myself time is generate a script using this tool. So instead of like trying to write a script from scratch myself, I want to just paste in a URL and get something that's going to be directionally useful. Again, it will not be perfect. I can promise you it will not be perfect. There's always going to be stuff, especially in a script, that I'm not going to say. Like, I'm not going to say, let's delve into something. AI loves the word delve for some reason. I have no idea why. We even instruct it not to use the word delve, and sometimes it'll delve. I don't know why. That's just the reality of this world we live in right now. But let's fill in this example. So use list formatting as much as possible. But this is also, coming back to our additional instructions piece, this is really where like the piece can become yours. The script can become yours. So if you have a specific take or you have really clear guidance you want to give the AI, this is where you will be able to affect that a lot. But for the sake of this example, let's just see what we get for a relatively generic sort of run here. And again, the intention of having a script like this is to guide me in the video creation process and make it feel less daunting to allow me to do it easier and faster, right? So this is actually looking pretty awesome. I love this. And it even gives you clues as to which visuals you may want to pull up on the screen as you're talking about, which is so awesome. Like there's nothing more boring in my opinion than a video where you're just direct to camera the entire time when you're trying to describe something that could use visuals, right? So giving really clear visual suggestions is super helpful. But like, take this for example. Optimize your on-site SEO as one of the bullet points here. SEO might sound complicated, but it's crucial. Use tools like Yoast SEO or Rank Math to get the basics right. Keywords, meta descriptions, alt text, get on it. That's really basic, right? That's not going to be enough for me. That doesn't cut it. I want to spend more time. I want to go a little bit deeper. But does this give me the foundation that I need to finish off this script? Definitely. I would just expand on all of these different aspects of it. And when I'm showing this section, right, I would want to pull up Yoast SEO on the screen. I'd want to show you like where to download it, which fields are going to be important to tinker with. And then I would spend a little bit of time on each of these topics. I would spend a little bit of time talking about the importance of keywords, meta descriptions, alt text, right? So this is never going to be exactly just read this verbatim and you're going to have a good video. I will never promise you that. You got to improvise. You got to look at the ways that you can weave yourself and your own personality into it. But, again, here, the point is to give you some starter material because if you're anything like me, let's see if we got all 40. We got all 40. Love it. So if you're anything like me, you probably don't love staring at a blank screen. And one of the best use cases for AI when it comes to repurposing is helping you avoid that blank screen terror. So I love to just take something like this and then edit it. For this one, I like to use a Google Doc, let's say. I just have a Google Doc on screen usually when I'm like creating a video or if I'm trying to loosely read a script, then I would just probably download this as a doc, pull it into Google Doc, copy it. There's a lot of different options here. Now, how we doing on time, Sadie? Do we have a hard cutoff?
We don't. We are good. There was a question that was asked in the chat. Are you in a space where I can ask you that?
Yes. Interject
Okay.
anytime. Reach through the screen and tap on my shoulder.
Okay, awesome. So I know that this specific tool, you have to have a URL to copy it and paste in. But somebody was asking if they have like text already, if there's any tools in here where you can take the text and turn it into a YouTube script or what
Ooh.
process that would look like.
Oh my gosh, that actually might be that could very well possibly be like a blank spot that we're missing right now. So you just spotted a really good feature request, and
Awesome.
I'm going to take note of that so that Andy can add that because what I would love to see and kind of guide us if you want to see something different, but what I envision with that is instead of it being restricted to blog post URL to also like be able to expand this text field and like just
Yeah.
paste in content.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because if you have like she was talking about PLR specifically, but yeah, if you have some sort of text that isn't published yet, that's a really awesome way to do it. And then if you use that little, like say that you have 300 words of text, say that you turn that into a video script, then you make the video and then you come back in and put the link in and you turn the video into a blog post.
Yes, exactly. And it never ends. It just keeps going.
Yeah. Yes.
Cool. I like that idea. And you actually this touches on a really interesting point. So we love taking feedback, ideas, change requests from the people that are using our tools. That is the way that we continue building this business. So please, even if you're just on the free account, please get the most out of the free account actually. But even if you're just on free, tell us what you would like to see. If you feel like frustrated or something, isn't working the way that you would expect it, it's not intuitive. That is the kind of stuff we love to hear because Andy, my technical partner who does all of the actual magic behind the scenes, I do none of that. He is amazing and he loves to get ideas from people. He loves to take suggestions. And like I've seen him, I can't promise this, but I've seen him like push updates and bug fixes within like 1 or 2 minutes of getting an email from someone is pretty insane. But I'd say that's a little atypical. But please, anytime you see something, say something. Love that. This is a good point. If we do have any other questions, have you noticed anything else come through in the chat?
So the only other question that just popped up is Lindsay asked, is there a way to input your own blog outline and have RightBlogger write the blog post? And I told her to just use the article writer and update the outline, but you might have a better answer.
Yeah, okay. So let me see what our exact capabilities are with the outline generator itself. So with this one, I would just say same case with the outline tool and the article writer tool itself. If you have a clear outline in mind, the best thing that you can do is to make the use of the additional instructions field. So if you have that outline already, paste it in right here. We have a specific field for additional instructions for the outline. And what you'll be able to do is, let me see. I don't know if I can edit this and maybe we can see the outline again. I'm not sure if this is going to work the way I want it to work, but what I'm hoping is to just show you a quick example of what the outline looks like. Okay, so yeah, that didn't work the way I wanted it to work. Of course, it's always on the live demos where we don't have it go the way we want it. Let's just generate a quick
It does
outline.
work though, whenever you put in your outline into the additional instructions, it does basically create that outline on the next step because I have done it that way.
Yeah, I like doing that too because, I mean, really, you as the creator, you're the one that has the original take on how you envision said topic being covered, right? So if you can feed your vision for an outline, even if it's just a few bullet points and you know you wanted
Yeah.
to expand more, you get a good start. And so here, this topic that I just wanted to show you was on how to brew Kolsch beer. I have never brewed beer myself. I like to drink it, but I don't know if this is actually what I would do from a process perspective. So if I were, a home brewer and I wanted to create this guide, I would naturally probably want to reorder some stuff in this outline, right? Like here's the step-by-step process. So let's just say I'm not this naive, but let's just say mashing actually comes after boiling. You would just want to reorder something like that. And you can add your context in by clicking the little pencil icon there. You can add additional instructions to the specific section within each heading of your article, basically. So if you want to add really clear, specific instructions on how to mash your input for beer, this is where you can do it. And it's gonna definitely lead to a better post at the end of the day. So
And if you're using, I know that RightBlogger does keyword research, and if people understand keyword research, they can use that. But a lot of my newbies are using Rank IQ to get started learning how to do the keyword research and write blog posts. And you can take the output, the CSV that Rank IQ gives you, and look it through the sheet, and then copy and paste the words you want to include. And then you put those in the additional instructions, and it's actually included in the outline as well, you guys. So if you want to use the keyword research inside of RightBlogger, it's golden if you know what you're doing. If you're still in the training wheels phase of SEO and you're using RightBlogger or you're using Rank IQ for those first few months, that's when you're going to just grab those words from Rank IQ and put them into the additional instructions for the outline, so they'll be included in the subheadings and that kind of thing. And also somebody just asked, before we move on to the next point, somebody asked, we do a lot of syndication, so like MSN, Medium, Newsbreak, that kind of thing, right? Faith asked, can I use the LinkedIn tool to get a good output for Medium, for example, or is there another tool that would work better for that purpose?
that's a good question. So would the use case would be, and point me in the right direction here, Sadie. The use case would be, I want to promote on my LinkedIn the pieces that we syndicated to, say, an MSN. Is that the use case?
So, I think I'm not sure what Faith is asking here because for syndication, I usually just copy and paste my blog post onto the syndicated
Mhm.
platform. So, for syndication on platforms, can I
Yeah.
use the LinkedIn tool to get a good output? So, Faith, can you clarify that real quick, what you mean? Because if you have the blog post written, you're essentially going to copy and paste it over to Medium, etc. So what will you be doing? What is your process for that, Faith? Did that explain it? Like you take your blog post and you put it on the syndication platforms, or was it a different question? You can unmute yourself if that's easier too. Okay, yeah, wasn't sure if I could copy and paste. Yeah, that's what we do. You can change it up. You can leave some of it off. Like sometimes I leave some of it off or like will kind of like condense it because I'm a little long-winded on my blog posts and Medium and Newsbreak and stuff that doesn't really lend well to being long-winded. So a lot of times I'll like make it more concise whenever I'm syndicating. But yeah, you can absolutely copy and paste it. Yep, just yeah, you would just condense it a little bit. I just remove anything where I ramble. Um,
I'll give you a little
yes.
hack for that too, using RightBlogger. So something that I do as well is I ramble, if you haven't noticed. And so when I'm syndicating content elsewhere, or like, someone reaches out to me, hey, we'd love to take a post on this topic from you, and I have something that is like pretty much that, I'll usually just use the rewriter tool on portions of it. So I usually won't like try and feed a whole article into this. There's some word count, character count limits on this too, because we don't want to encourage, hey, rewrite, this URL as a new post. I think that leads to a scary rabbit hole personally, but I will feed in like the introduction or the conclusion that I wrote for something and say, hey, rewrite this as unique intro, unique conclusion. And again, you can give the additional instructions here. You've got the my tone stuff, so you can even switch up the tone on a rewrite of something. But I mean, really, I think there's 76 tools in here. There's almost a tool for everything you can imagine. But that's a really useful one for syndication in my experience too.
Awesome. Thank you. We are all caught up on questions, so you can go to your next section.
Sweet. All right. So we have two tools, one that I definitely want to make sure we get to. So I'm going to do that one next. And this one is the email newsletter generator. So I don't know about y'all. Let's see. But after I create a video, write an article, the last thing that I have energy for is also writing an email about the article to promote to my list. So we made a tool that will help you do exactly that. And let's say I wanted to grab that blog post examples one because we're just going to be consistent here today. Let's say that you want to write a newsletter for that article on blog post examples that I just got here. And I'm going to just paste that in. You could also, instead of pasting a URL, if you don't have that piece of content live yet, you can just type in, the points to convey, maybe add some bullet points or give it a topic. But again, this is where you as the creator really shine, because if you just say, write an email newsletter about blog post examples, I have no idea what you're going to get, really. And it could be pretty wild. But the more that you really like narrow this stuff in on exactly what you want, the closer that it's going to be to something that's workable. And, the entire point of this is repurposing to save time without losing quality. So newsletter type, we've got some different kind of options here. We would also love to hear some of your use cases. If you want to take this tool for a spin and you see some stuff in here, some types that aren't captured well for you, I like to use the blog style one personally. And then tone, we're going to want it to use, the my tone that you've defined for your account. Target audience, again, like be specific about this stuff. It's going to really help you. You could even, like, if this was a post about, travel blog post examples, I would want to like get really specific about the target audience, new bloggers in the travel blogging space, right? That's what I would do if it were a really kind of niche geared post, but staying true to my audience, that's who we're going to work with. Point of view, first person. I love newsletters that sound like they're written clearly by the creator, the business owner themselves, and so I always do that. Additional instructions. This is where with newsletters, you want to be really prescriptive. So write in list formatting as much as possible where appropriate. If I can spell today. You know, typing and talking at the same time, that's a trip. I got to tell you guys that. And be concise, straight to the point. Do not write more than 200 words. This is very important. This is a feature that Andy and I are considering giving you kind of a word count range, or maybe it's a slider, maybe it's an input field with a maximum and a minimum that you can give it, because I personally don't love super long email newsletters. I know a lot of people like to read a full blog post in an email, and I think that's cool. But to me personally, I just don't like consuming content that way. I'd rather like open it up in the blog post, open up the video, open up the podcast episode, and then get to it when I can. Because if it's in my email, like my email inbox is a disaster zone. So for me, that's not where consumption happens. So I like to really limit this. And then again, you can play with the creativity slider, the knowledge if you want, but let's just generate this example, see what we get. And, you know, something I forgot to include in the additional instructions, I usually like to tell AI, don't be cheesy. Have fun
Yeah.
with the tone and the style, but don't be cheesy, because, you know, sometimes you can get something like this that says, hey there, fellow blogger. I would never write that to start an email newsletter, right? But you get some subject that you could possibly work with. Something else I'd probably, let's just do this. Don't be cheesy or use tired phrases for the subject line. Use no more than 40 characters. Only capitalize the first letter of the first word in the subject line. That's another usability thing that I really like about email subject lines myself. I don't like seeing a subject line that's written in the format of a blog post header. So we can see it took some of the instructions. It didn't take all of them. Hey there, fellow blogger. Maybe AI doesn't know that that's cheesy. That's
I was
interesting.
just gonna say, maybe the robots don't think that's cheesy. They think that they're acting like humans and they're like, hello, fellow blogger. Like
Hi,
they don't
fellow blogger.
know,
I'm a real
right?
human. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
I love that you said like to make sure, like you said a few things, but the one thing that really resonated with me and I hope is resonating with everyone else is like make sure that your voice is coming through. And the reason this is so important, especially because I know a lot of my people use templates from Liz Wilcox in the emails. A lot of times, if you are not putting in your actual own voice into it and you're using the same template as everyone else, a lot of people are subscribed to 15 different people that are using the same templates, and it just ends up like the Charlie Brown teacher. You're like, "Mer, mer, mer, mer." Nobody cares and nobody is listening to what you have to say. And also, I'm like Ryan, I like short emails, but as you guys can see, my emails are as long as blog posts. They're like 1,500 words long because that's what my people like. So, what I want you guys to take from this is yes, think about what you like, but try things out with your audience. When I tried the new email format that I just started like 2 months ago, my open rates started going through the roof. I started getting messages from people saying, I used to like somebody on my team messaged me yesterday and she goes, I used to open all of your emails and click just to help you with your open rates. She goes, now I open them because I love reading them. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. So make sure that you're testing things out that you like to do, because I like to ramble, as you can tell too. So just check out like what you want to do, but then see how your audience responds and kind of like tweak it from there. But this can save you so much time. And then it can also make sure that you're promoting your blog posts. I used to forget to promote my blog posts. So this is super, super helpful.
Yes, and you hit the nail on the head here. So these tools will never be perfect. They will never completely replace you. They will never generate exactly what you want in one single click. But let's see here. So yeah, this example does go to my article. So we've got links included. I'm not really sure why it included 4 links. That's a little overkill, especially to the exact same post. So again, this is the kind of thing where, in 30 seconds, you've got a draft for your newsletter and you just hit copy, take it over to your email newsletter tool, and then you make your edits, right? But for me, like these are kind of the main points. Like it does consume the article and it nailed what the main points are. So I like this. This is the thing that I would use to get started. And again, not perfect. Okay, we got a little bit of time. I want to leave some time for Q&A too, but I want to just kind of quickly show you one last tool was going to be, I wanted to show you what the LinkedIn post tool itself is like. So we did an example of using the chat interface with one of our creations to write a LinkedIn post, but I wanted to show you this one for a video. So I recently did this video on handling email newsletter rejection, how to basically take the mean replies or the nasty sort of emails that you may occasionally get from people who are like, "Hey, how am I on this newsletter?" or, your content sucks," right? Everyone has a different take and everyone has bad days. Some of those bad days, they like to reply to whatever's in their inbox. So don't take it personally is the thesis of this video, but I wanted to just show you, I haven't yet promoted this video. It's brand new. And so I would want to run this one through my YouTube video to blog post tool and get that draft content, publish a blog post sometime later today. But I also want to promote it on LinkedIn. So again, this is where like using in the favorites here, I would want to probably favorite this tool because I use it so much, and then curate this little favorites flow so that I have more or less a de facto workflow process for myself to follow. That's something I really like about this. And we're also working on having the ability to drag and drop these around so that you can, move one above the other and do some more interesting things there. But just to show you, again here with the LinkedIn post generator, write 5 example LinkedIn posts promoting, starting a conversation around the topic of newsletter rejection and mean replies. Don't be overly self-promotional of the video. Seek to drive engagement and discussion in the comments. So again, be really specific and prescriptive about what you want from the AI outputs. And more often than not, I think you'll find that you'll be surprised at how well this kind of stuff ends up doing. And so I like this one. Actually, I really like this. Oof, newsletter rejection. Like that's definitely a very me sounding thing. But let's say that this isn't exactly what we have in mind. So I would come over to the chat here, rewrite these post examples with more content up to 200 words per post. I want something longer form. And this is where I like to really like interact with the creations inside of RightBlogger and make sure that I actually get something usable out of it. Because back on that original one, we'll let this finish doing its thing and I'll show you kind of the before and the after here. That was a super like brief post that it created in the first version. However, I like the stuff that's way more enticing and engaging, especially on a platform like LinkedIn. So knowing the platform, knowing what works well on platforms and knowing your audience, what your audience wants from you, what they're going to engage with is super important. And these are way more on point for what I would take as a first draft for a LinkedIn post. Cool. And then we've got the link
These are
here
awesome.
again. With LinkedIn stuff, I would ditch the link in the post itself and I'd just put it in the first comment. But with a video, perhaps that's different sometimes because a video does display like with really rich, beautiful kind of visuals. That might be something where you want to play around with. And, experimentation is always the name of the game here.
It's kind of the same way on Facebook. If you're sharing a video in your group, it's going to have good reach because it's visual. But if you're sharing a blog post, it's hit or miss. Like if you put something really engaging up there, share the link, and it's a really awesome preview image, yes. But that usually the reach is only great usually when something is like controversial, really opinionated, really strong one way or another. Whereas if you just put in like a question and a little tip or whatever, and then put the link in the comments below, then you're going to have more reach. And you don't want to say, hey, the link is below because Facebook knows better and they will not send it out. So a lot of times, I know some people don't like the everyone tag, but I've learned to love it. And it really curates my feed because I turn off the everyone tag. If I don't want to hear from somebody, you turn it off. But the people you do want to hear from, you want them using the everyone tag. So I'll just put like something super interesting. And then if it doesn't get comments within the first hour, I'll go ahead and drop in the first comments, tag everyone, and link to the blog post. And that'll make sure that your reach goes up. But yeah, you've got to really start with one platform so you can learn that platform. Like I don't know shit about LinkedIn, so I would have to go in every day and start learning and following, just like I've been doing with TikTok. Like I didn't know anything about TikTok a few months ago. Now, even though I'm not doing it, I'm like, hey, I'm kind of a TikTok expert because I've been watching so much. And the next step is me doing it, right? So pick your platform, even though we're talking about repurposing all over the place, like pick your one platform to get really good at, and then you can add another one. And Lindsay just said, do you find that people leave your group when using the everyone tag? So no, I have not found that. And if they do leave, bye. If they don't want to hear from me, they don't need to be in my group. Like you're in my group because you want to hear what I have to say. You want to learn about my topic. If you don't like getting tagged, you can hit the three little dots and say, hey, I don't want everyone tags anymore, and then you won't get them. So if somebody, and I explain that to people, if I ever get like a little angry react, usually it's from the bro dudes for some reason, but if I ever get the angry react, I tag that person and I'm like, yo, you can turn these off. It's okay. Like you're in control. So no, I would not be afraid of using that as long as you're using it to deliver value. The reason I leave groups and the reason I turn them off is because if someone is not delivering value and they're just using it to sell, stop tagging me. I don't need you to tag me to sell to me, right? So that you really have to like think about, why am I tagging everyone? And for me, I'm tagging everyone because I want them to see this value. I will maybe use the everyone tag like once every 20 times I use it. Is it something I'm selling? So make sure you're following Gary Vee's jab, 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 right hook method and delivering value instead of just like tagging everyone just to try to make a couple of extra bucks, because yeah, people will leave then.
I love that. Great advice. I mean, that also that dovetails with the same conversation of my video on newsletter rejection. Same thing in Facebook groups. If people are mad at you for posting things that you feel are driving value and like actually helping some people, there's always going to be people that are having a bad day and it's not personal. It's not about you. And I mean, hey, at the end of the day, they can definitely leave and that's okay.
Yes. And
I
you
think even
guys,
the best relationships you have with people who are on your newsletter, in your Facebook group, whatever, like not all of them are meant to last forever. People come, they get what they needed, and then they move on or they shift gears in life, right? Like, don't take it personally. People will come, people will go. Some people may come back too.
yes, people do come back a lot. They'll leave because they're not in that phase in their life, and then they'll circle back around. That happens a lot. And also, You guys, whenever you're getting the angry comments, replies, all of these things, remember a click is a click. Eyeballs are eyeballs. So you're making money whether they like what you have to say or not. So when people are coming to your blog and they're leaving you a bunch of hateful comments, those pay the same as the nice comments do, just so you guys know. Like, that's how I frame it. I've had 2 posts go viral and they were both for bad reasons, and I got hundreds of really bad comments. It still made me thousands of dollars. So it didn't matter to me at the end of the day whether they were good or bad comments, because I knew what I was doing was the right thing. And I still got paid.
Lindsay, that's a
No, do
great
not piss
comment.
everybody off, Lindsay. No, not on purpose, not on purpose, okay? Okay, so we're gonna do quick Q&A, but I have a question for you guys. For those of you who are using RightBlogger, Ryan showed his favorite tools in the little sidebar, and it made me curious because I didn't remember. I remember I had a ton of favorites, but I didn't remember which ones they were. So I want to know if you guys are using RightBlogger while everyone's brewing up some questions for Ryan. Which tools do you have marked as your favorites in RightBlogger, or which tools like do you use the most often? Leave those in the comments, you guys. If you're using RightBlogger already, which tools are you using the most? And I'm going to tell you what mine are real quick while you guys are coming up with questions too. So keyword cluster, all day, every day. I use keyword cluster, love it. I have the newsletter one favorited, even though I've never used it because I want to use it. List, keyword research, content gap. Y'all, if you are not using content gap, YouTube video to blog post, of course, is like my number one. Blog post to YouTube video script. So both of those. And then I actually have feature benefit outcome on there. Because when I'm working on my sales pages and when I'm working on my Facebook posts that are selling, I'm awful at selling. So I'm like, hey, RightBlogger, how can I sell this thing that I love? Let's see, make text punchier, expert reply. So I use expert reply just so I don't cuss people out. That truly, like that's my use case. And Beth, I see you nodding. Yes, you understand when someone sends in a question or a comment or something, and I just want to say something really ignorant to them. I'm like, hey, RightBlogger, how do I say something nice to this person, even though they're on my nerves? And the expert reply is beautiful.
Keep me professional.
Yes. Okay, clusters for sure. Faith said, post outline and article writer, explain like I'm 5, keyword cluster, smart suggest, keyword cluster, article writer, keyword cluster. Okay, we're all fans of keyword cluster, you guys. Post outline, title outline, and article writer. Someone sent me an email today telling me they can't join my membership, but they had opinions they wanted to share about it. Thanks. Yep. Go over there, press the expert reply. Yep. Put it in there and you will respond perfectly. Instead of being like, did I say, like, why would I care? Like, why are you telling me this? So yes, beautiful. Okay, I have a question. Have you made it so we can have teams within RightBlogger yet? So we can have VAs on our team without having to have a separate subscription for them? That's the first question, Ryan.
I am so happy you asked this in a recorded setting because I know Andy's going to see it. He's had a lot going on, a lot on his plate the past month or so. And so the short answer is no, Teams has not launched yet, but it's like I was just looking at it with him. It is so close. So we want to get that rolled out within the next like couple of weeks I'd say at the latest, and make sure that like this is going to be a beta feature. And so we would love your feedback specifically. You guys are awesome here. Like, you're so engaged with this. And I know y'all are using the tools, whether it's on a free or paid plan, doesn't matter. We would love to see what you like about Teams. Like, would you want to invite a virtual assistant? What, permissions do they need? Do you want them to see everything in a shared content dashboard that everyone has access to? Or is there some stuff that you'd want to keep private to just your account? Like, these are the kinds of little nuances where, we'll roll out what we think the best case is, and then would love your feedback on soon too.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
I have a related question for you guys, actually. Another thing we're planning on rolling out soon is a general chat tool. So I showed you what the chat kind of experience is like on an individual content piece, would you use something that is essentially a version of ChatGPT, but also inside RightBlogger and kind of geared towards like our unique flavor, our, this is how we want it to interact with bloggers, content creators, small business owners? Would something like a chat tool, I guess, be useful?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's literally the only thing missing and why I have not gotten rid of ChatGPT Plus yet. That's the only thing because I use RightBlogger now. It was like 50-50. Now RightBlogger 90% of the time. But there's still a few things that I hop over to ChatGPT and I can just like type, hey, I'm creating a mini course. Please help me with an outline. Those kinds of things. There's some things in our business where we need that open chat compared to all of the specifics. Like RightBlogger is amazing because of all the specifics, but on one of those aspects, it's limiting because you can't just go in there. So I say yes. Everyone in the comments is saying heck yes, and
Especially if it
it
remembers info. So that would be like central to having a chat tool, is that it's gonna
yeah.
pull from your knowledge library, your tone, your style. Like it would remember things about, your site that's connected as well. That'd be the point.
Shannon asks if you are going to come up with any type of alt text generator in the future. So like you put the image in and then it generates alt text. I know we use a chat GPT that was built specifically for that right now. It's called She Knows Alt Text. And you literally just upload the image and then it pops back with an alt text description because alt text is like the bane of my existence. I am autistic, so like whenever I'm describing something, I'm very straightforward. I'm just like, it's a screenshot from RightBlogger. And like, like that's all that I can come up with. And the alt text generator, it just is so much more in depth. It's so much more detailed and it's super helpful. So yes, I'm glad you asked that, Shannon.
Thank you so much for asking that. So let me share my screen. And I'm not in the habit of making promises on Andy's behalf for what we can build, but we already have the image caption generator inside RightBlogger. So
Oh,
to me, we have everything we need to have an alt text
yeah.
generator as well. So it would
Yeah.
function essentially the same as this tool itself. So I'm gonna go
Yeah.
out on a limb and say that's a pretty easy ad that I would expect we could have within the next week or so.
I didn't even know that you had this. Have you had this for like ever, or is this one of the
This is
newer ones?
the biggest problem about RightBlogger for me too, is that there are so many damn tools. There's so many tools.
Yeah,
And
I
so
didn't even
like
know.
I use the search function and feel
Yeah.
like, I remember, oh yeah, we have a Google preview tool. Oh yeah, we have a translate tool. So there's a
Yeah.
little bit of overwhelm. We want to work on,
Yeah.
better kind of layout and design of the tools itself. But
So that kind of brings me to what I have started as an outline. I'm doing like a 10 days to write blogger mastery video series, blog post series, email series, like it's going to be all the things. Um, so I think I need to get with you and be like, okay, if we're doing this in 10 days, how do we find everything? How do we like, that type of thing. So I think that that would be a good thing to include is, hey, make sure you know what's in here or you're not going to be utilizing it all.
yeah, Beth had the best comment here. We need a super special Hell Week tool. I love that.
So Hell Week, for those of you who are not VIPs and have not participated in my Hell weekend, we all get together and live, we each create our own mini course. And so I have a custom GPT that will help you create a mini course and it keeps you on track. You're only allowed to have 3 modules with 3 lessons each. And anytime you try to do anything else, it's like, nope. And it like puts you back on track just, from the prompting or whatever. But that's actually a really good idea for a tool for bloggers because bloggers are creating courses. Having like a mini course creation outline tool inside of RightBlogger would literally, oh my gosh, I would be like Chat GPT who? Like chat like who what
I'm
I
taking
I
so
would not
many
even
notes over here. That is such a good tool idea. Mini course
yeah.
outline. I love that.
Yeah, we wouldn't even need, like, I would not need any other AI tool at all if I had that, because that's one of the other things that I've been using it for besides the sales page is just like my mini course outline tool. And yeah, that would be wonderful.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, I love the YouTube videos underneath many of the tools you have because it can become overwhelming. Yes, I agree. Whenever we don't know what the heck the tool does, and then if we don't know what it does, we can't put good input in. So then we can't get great output. And we're like, ah, this is crap. But really, if we just knew what to put in there, then it would be giving us the output we need.
And there's some tools, I will say this, there are some tools that don't have YouTube videos yet. Like we just, the to-do list is never ending over here, I promise you. But if you have a specific tool that you are like, hey, how do I use this, Ryan? Please message me. I'll drop my email address here. Um, I would love to make you custom tutorials on these tools and give you like, hey, here's how I would get the most out of this kind of stuff. Because I think that that's really useful. And also, we want to prioritize the tutorials for the tools that y'all are actually using. So thank you.
Yes, beautiful. Okay, guys, you guys have like 30 seconds. Any other questions you want to pop in there and ask?
Oh, Kevin's got one here. Would you include something like the customizable instructions in ChatGPT? Okay, so I think I need a little more context on that one. Or Sadie, maybe you know what Kevin's talking about?
Would you include something like the customizable? Okay, so I'm guessing that he means, like whenever you create custom GPTs, you can tell it to do those things. But if you have the chat inside of RightBlogger, then we would be able to give it custom instructions anyway, I'm guessing.
Yes, that would be the point on our end too. We would want to
That
make sure
makes
that you can
sense.
like save some custom instruction, like
Mm-hmm.
have presets
Yep.
essentially. That would be for sure. Yeah, I love that.
Yep. Yep. Perfect. Yeah, that's going to be the best part about having that chat feature. So that's beautiful.
Cool.
Okay.
I wanted to just leave a note for you, Beth. Um, can you drop me an email with that? Because your preschool blogger should probably not be suggesting only home organization posts.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Ryan. Is there anything else that you want to, like, if you have one thing to leave us with, is there anything that you would like to tell all of our people?
I would honestly like this is my parting advice is be kind to yourself. This stuff is a lot. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of effort, it's a lot of learning. There's so much new going on here for most people when it comes to how you repurpose content, and there's a lot of like stretching, like trying out new skills, new mediums to create in. And so the more that you can be kind to yourself and set yourself up for like mini wins along the way, that's gonna really incentivize you to wanna like you'll feel good doing it and to come back and do more of it. So I would suggest like if video is relatively new, let's say, that's an assumption I think that's usually safe to make with most creators. If video is relatively new to you and you feel some feelings about it, I would say don't start by creating a schedule of, the 3 videos you're going to make every week for the next 3 months. That is a huge thing, like amount of pressure to put yourself under. Start with just making one video. And maybe you clear as best you can an entire day for it or a half day for it. And you don't even have to get a perfectly amazing video on the other side of it. Maybe you end up spending that day just working on the script and shooting some rough cuts of what your video could be. But like just my word of caution is that learning new things, you want to set yourself up for wins along the way. Otherwise, you just get burnt out. You'll feel like crap, like, oh, dang it, this video sucks. I'm never going to do it again. That's the worst case scenario. So have fun with it, bite it off in small chunks, and definitely ask me questions too. I've done a lot of this stuff myself. I'd love to help. So anytime y'all got questions, suggestions, feedback, ideas, just drop me a line.
Thank you so much. And I have two things that I'm going to leave you guys with. First of all, your first video is going to suck. Like, I don't
Mm.
care how much preparation you do. I don't care how great of a script you have. I don't care if your lighting is perfect. Your first video is going to suck. Your first 10 are probably going to suck, okay? It's just like whenever you're making pancakes. And I say this in my mini course creation. Your first course you create is going to suck compared to the 10th one you create. When you're making pancakes, does anybody make the first pancake perfect? The first pancake is always ugly. Like, I don't even eat the first pancake. Some people might, but the first pancake is ugly. Okay. The first pancake's always terrible. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with your first video, your first blog post, your first anything. Nobody is amazing until they do it over and over again. Like Michael Jordan is not the best, fight me, the best because he just tried a couple times. He did it over and over and over again. That is why he is the best of all time. You can't be great at something until you start off terrible at something. So don't compare, some other creators 300th video with this whole production setup and mic and all that shit with your first 10 videos. Okay, you guys just knock them out and get them done.
Yes.
Um,
Look at my
it
first videos. They are total garbage. Even the stuff I feel like I'm making today, I look at other creators who are, the 10x level production, and I'm like, oh, does mine suck? But, it's all about reframing. And if you consistently live in that mindset, you just won't end up creating. So figure out
yeah.
how to be kind to yourself as you're learning and leveling up. And there is no shortcut. You got to do the 300 videos to get good at video.
Yep, absolutely. And last but not least, collaboration over competition, y'all. I say this all the time, okay? But having Ryan here in front of my audience is showing you once again that collaboration over competition can work. Because in anybody else's mind, in the bloggers that are doing the competition thing, Ryan and I are direct competitors. He teaches people how to blog. I teach people how to blog. Okay. So for me to be dropping Ryan's blog link in there when we're teaching the same things, knowing he's selling a blog course, knowing I have a blog course, like all of those things in the blogging world usually would put us against each other as competitors. But look at what happens whenever you collaborate with someone who has your same types of views like whenever we put our heads together, like look at what happened today. This was absolutely beautiful. And Ryan, just thank you so much for your time. We really, really appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you guys. This was awesome. And if you want to see more of these, please tell Sadie in the Facebook group because I'm
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Let us know. All right. I'm going to stop the recording, guys.